Tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, the weather's been good. Weather's been good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Back with another week, Conscious Approach, another video. As usual, my name is JV Wins, joined by my dog, Dogon SS, to talk about some stuff that piqued our interest over the course of this last week. Before we get into the commentary on this week's video, like always, I did want to let everybody know that if you are watching this video either on the live stream or if you are watching this video post talk and you are not subscribed to the channel, to please subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button so that you can get the notification for all content published to the channel. Additionally, if you are watching any of the videos as standalone uploads, also subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share the video wherever you're watching this video. We certainly appreciate you supporting logical content as always. So with that out of the way, today is a special day. At least for us, it is. So October 18th is opening night in the NBA. Now we are NBA heads. We tend to lean into the heavy social commentary on this channel, but we do enjoy our sports talk as well. So because the NBA is kicking off today, October the 18th, is at the time of recording this video, we thought that we would just talk about the league and give our 2 cents on what we think is going to happen, respectively. So how the season is going to shake out, who's going to make it into the postseason, win the NBA championship, who's going to win league MVP. Obviously, this is all opinion. We don't know what's going to happen. More than likely, the stuff that we are going to say is not correct, just like everybody else who gets paid too much money to give their sports predictions on TV and all forms of new media these days. So why not we join in on that kind of stuff? So I guess I'll go ahead and kick it off. Kick this one off. So side stories aside, because we got all sorts of side things going on with the league. You got Robert Sarver, and apparently he was a creep of an owner and a bad guy, so now he's actively trying to sell the Phoenix Suns. How is that going to affect Phoenix, because they're a contender out west? You got the Boston Celtics with the Ime Udoka situation. How is that going to affect the Celtics? Right now, the Celtics are playing the Philadelphia 76ers, the first game of the year. Close game, 11-10. Philly is up by 1. They're playing in Boston. But there's speculation as to whether the Ime Udoka situation, the fallout from that, is going to be punitive enough to derail the Boston Celtics from having a legitimate shot to win a championship. And then you got the Lakers with Westbrook and Patrick Beverly. And, LeBron is more than likely going to break the all-time scoring record this year. You got Warriors with Draymond Green knocking out Jordan Poole, and how is that going to affect what they got going on out there? So it's a lot of stuff going on in the league this year right off the bat, a lot of interesting storylines. So for me, real quick, kind of what I see happening, at least, in my opinion, I kind of pay attention to the history of the game and the way a lot of this stuff has gone on. And right off the bat, no team that does not have a dynamic 6'6" or taller wing player who can dribble, pass, and shoot has a chance to win. So I just don't, if you don't have that kind of guy as your best player, or at least your second best player, you have zero chance to win a championship. So that immediately eliminates a handful of teams from having legitimate contention. In the East, the Hawks are out. The Hornets are out. The Bulls, they got DeRozan and Zach LaVine, but those two guys to me are B tier players. They're not superstar caliber. They're more like, if they're the second best player on your team looks good. But it doesn't matter whether you say LaVine or DeMar DeRozan, they're both B tier. They're not on that level. So they have zero chance to win. Cleveland has zero chance. They got Donovan Mitchell over the all season, but Donovan Mitchell's like 6'2", 6'3", and he's their best player. They have a lot of complimentary pieces. They got Mobley and those guys out there. So they're probably going to have a pretty good record. Zero chance to win a championship. And that's no disrespect. It just is what it is. Pistons, horrible. Pacers, not good. My Miami Heat, I want so badly to say that I look at the roster and they got a legit chance. But once again, I love and respect the system and the organization. And I do like me some Jimmy Butler. But again, Jimmy Butler is B tier. Jimmy Butler to me is DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine level. Maybe a cut above them because Jimmy Butler has some intangibles that I do appreciate in terms of holding players accountable and sort of, being, and I'm going to use a media phrase here, so please forgive me, but a galvanizing force. But Jimmy Butler is cool and all, but still, he's just a cut below that superstar dynamic wing player that you need in order to be a legit contender. So because of that, by default, I have to say, regrettably, that my Heat have zero chances to win the finals, even though they are probably going to get into the postseason and make a lot of noise, as they always do. But nevertheless, zero chance to win a championship. Milwaukee, they currently have the league's best player, in my opinion, in Antetokounmpo. So they are a legit contender. Knicks, no. Magic, no. Although I'm going to be watching the Magic because I think Paolo Banchero is going to be a real deal star NBA player. He was doing stuff in college when he was at Duke that made me say, oh, this guy is like a pro. You can just tell, even if he wasn't leading college basketball and scoring or nothing like that, he wasn't necessarily blowing everybody away in any one statistical category. But I just watched his game, and his game at Duke was so refined. I feel like at some point he's going to be a star. But nevertheless, he plays for the Magic. The Magic are atrocious, so zero chances to win. Toronto, no chance. Philly has a shot. Their roster is well balanced, and I do really, really like Joel Embiid. I personally think that he's a superstar. He's not a wing player per se because he doesn't necessarily dribble and handle the ball and kind of move on the perimeter the way dynamic wing players do, but he can shoot, he has range, and he can make free throws. He can defend the paint. He does rebound the ball, and unless he is hurt, he is a presence on the defensive end. And then their second best player is a dynamic wing guy in James Harden, even though I think James Harden is a bit overrated. But that's okay because James Harden is the second best player. So your second best player can be James Harden, and you still got a legit shot. So I like Embiid, therefore I like the Sixers. I think they have a legit shot as well. They got guys like Maxey. I think Maxey is still somebody who comes off the bench. So I like the Sixers. I'm actually pulling for them to do better than they have been because I'm tired of Doc Rivers getting a rap for being an overrated coach. And that's starting to be something that's getting said more and more. And then Toronto, no shot. Wizards, no shot. So of all the teams that I said have a shot, I think I skipped over Brooklyn. Brooklyn has a shot, obviously, because of KD. So we're looking at Brooklyn. We're looking at Boston also has a shot with Jason Tatum. We're looking at Boston. We're looking at Brooklyn. We're looking at Philly. And that's pretty much what I look at in terms of who has a shot in the East. Not really anybody else. Between Brooklyn, Boston, and Milwaukee and Philly, provided that Chris Middleton doesn't get hurt and he stays healthy, even though Milwaukee is top heavy, I gotta say, I think I like Milwaukee coming out of the East because I think that Giannis just affects every spot on the court. He affects dramatically. He has the greatest effect on his team and on winning of any player in the league and any player since LeBron. And it hurts me to say that because I don't like LeBron. But the truth is the truth. The truth is the truth. So I'm going to go with Milwaukee in the East. Out West, I pretty much follow the same rubric. looking at the teams in the West, Dallas does have a very dynamic player in Luka. A lot of people in the media like the Dallas Mavericks. I don't like them so much because even though Luka is a superstar player, he's too ball dominant for my liking. Uh, guys who are extremely ball dominant like that tend to not be on teams that win championships. And that's not to say that Luka has to play that way. I just think the way that their roster is currently constructed sort of necessitates him playing that way. Uh, I'm trying to give Luka the benefit of the doubt. I think that if he was playing with one or two other really, really high end good players, that maybe he would be able to come off the ball and just be a guy who makes plays and scores and gets assists. But right now, because he kind of is the end all to be all in that regard, he has the ball in his hands all the time. And in the playoffs, it's easy to game plan against that, especially when it slows down in the half court set. So because of that, as good as I think Luka is, Mavericks, zero chance. The Denver Nuggets are legit to me. Jokic, I have the highest regard for. I do not think it was a fluke that he won MVP twice. I really do think he's that good. He is highly intelligent. He's legit. Like Embiid, to me, he's willing to affect every part of the court. Also like Giannis, inside, outside, and he's smart. He can pass. He passes better than Joel Embiid. He shoots at least as good as Joel Embiid. And I think he is less injury prone than Joel Embiid. So you put all of that together. I like Denver. Plus Jamal Murray's coming back. Denver is legit to me. Golden State doesn't need to be said. We move on. Houston, no. Clippers. Clippers are extremely interesting. If Kawhi Leonard can just play, the dude is hurt all the time. If Kawhi Leonard can just be available, the Clippers to me are interesting. I might say that the Clippers have the greatest chance to make it to the finals over Golden State if Kawhi Leonard just plays. But he's always hurt all the time. I can't trust him to not be hurt. But I mean, all things equal, if health is not a factor, the Clippers are legit. Paul George, obviously, I put Paul George in that B tier, but he's very, very high end B tier. And so with Kawhi there, Kawhi's better than Paul George. Paul George is your second best player. You're legit. And then you're trying to resurrect the ashes of John Wall because they signed John Wall in the offseason. We'll see how that goes. But I like their roster and I like their head coach a lot. So I feel like the Clippers have a legitimate shot. Their biggest caveat is not being hurt, which is a big deal because Kawhi Leonard is just always hurt. He's injury prone as hell. So, all things being equal in terms of health, the Clippers are legit. Lakers, no. Grizzlies are interesting. There's a lot of Ja Morant hype. We talked about Ja Morant often. The Grizzlies are interesting. The Grizzlies don't meet my qualifications in terms of teams that can win championships, but they're going to be one of those teams that wins a whole lot of games in the regular season. Like, I think the Grizzlies are going to have the best record in the league, or at the very least, they're going to have one of the three best records in the league as long as everybody stays healthy. They have a really good roster with a lot of good players, but I just feel like their best player in Morant is just too undersized to be dynamic enough to get them over the hump. That's my personal opinion. As good as he is, if Ja Morant was 6'7", 6'8", at least 6'6", I'd put the Grizzlies right in there in the mix. But the history of the league says that just doesn't cut it. Guys got to be a little taller, a little closer to the rim. And Ja Morant's really good, but to me, physically, he just does not fit the build in terms of what your best player needs to be in order for you to legitimately contend. So I'm going to keep my eye on the Grizzlies, and they're going to be on TV a whole lot because they're really popular. And Ja Morant is a really popular player. But I still think they have zero chance because their best player is Ja Morant, and Ja is, 6'2", 6'3". So I'm just going to DQ them because of that. I'm going to say no. Minnesota, no. Pelicans, no. And side note on the Pelicans, Zion is already hurt already. Like, he ripped his ankle in the preseason. Like, the guy is just starting to look like he's injury prone. So It pains me to say it. Doesn't make me happy to say that, but in a preseason game, he's already rolled his ankle. So be that as it may, even without that happening, there's still a no to me. Brandon Ingram is one of those guys. He needs to be your second or third best player, and your best player needs to be somebody who is as talented as Zion, but not so injury prone. I respect CJ McCollum a lot, so I think they have some good pieces, and I really, really want to see their coach succeed, Willie Green, but zero shot. OKC, zero shot. Phoenix, um, I don't think so. I love Devin Booker. Devin Booker to me is their best player. Devin Booker is probably the only guy in the whole league, in my opinion, who's not above 6'6", but still he's so good to me. He can be your best player and you can still win it all. I mean, hell, they already got to a finals. Like, that's how good I think Devin Booker is. Just all around game, no weaknesses in his game offensively, and he puts in the effort defensively. But there's something weird with them. I can't really put my finger on it, but it's like they get there, maybe Chris Paul melts down and gets hurt, or Aiton, he might get in his feelings and get disgruntled, mad because he ain't getting the ball enough or not getting enough plays called for him, or he feels like he should be paid more. There's something weird with Phoenix, and so I'm just gonna say no because of that. But I like their team, so it wouldn't hurt me to see them do well. But I'm still gonna say no. Portland, no. Free Dame. Sacramento, no. They might be the worst team in the whole league. San Antonio, no. Utah, no. So out of the West, I said Denver, yes. Golden State, yes. I said the Clippers, yes, so long as they're healthy. And I want to put Phoenix in there, but I just have my trepidation. Here's the thing. Golden State, I'm going to say no because it's like, who repeats? No one does that. No one does that. Like, they did it when they were in the midst of their dynasty, but I think they're older now and the team isn't the same. KD ain't walking through that door. Clay is great, but not prime Clay. No fault of his own, but I just don't see them repeating. So I got to say no to the Warriors, although I like them, and if they were to go back, it wouldn't necessarily upset me. Clippers, to me, it's between Clippers and Denver, honestly. And I don't know which way to go with that. Part of me wants to say that provided everybody stays healthy, I kind of want to go with the Clippers. To be honest. But there's also a part of my brain that can't reconcile the idea of seeing the Clippers in the finals. It's just weird. It's weird. I don't know if I can. I can't fully grasp the idea of that. But I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say the Clippers get to the finals this year for the first time ever, as long as everybody stays healthy. Because I think their roster is that well balanced, and I think that they have that good a coach. So I'm gonna go with the Clippers. I'm gonna go with Milwaukee in the finals, and I'm going to go with Milwaukee winning it again because I like Giannis that much. So that's my uninformed, unintelligent, wild prediction for this NBA season. League MVP, I got Ja Morant winning that. He's going to steamroll this thing. He's going to have a bunch of numbers, a bunch of highlights, a bunch of crazy dunks. The media is going to go crazy. All of these talk shows and these pundits are going to get on TV and on these podcasts talking about how Ja Morant is league MVP candidate. I feel like it's Ja Morant's season in terms of MVP. There's been some subtle noise with that leading up to this year, and so I think it's going to reach a full tilt this year. And again, I feel like Memphis is going to have one or two of the best records in the league, and they always like giving it to the best player on the best team. Usually, that's how they give that award out. So I got Ja Morant winning the MVP this year. So I want to say one thing about Brooklyn, because Brooklyn is one of my teams that legitimately have a shot in the East. Too much turmoil. I think that when KD is in the right state of mind, he's the best player in the league, in my opinion. I think he's better than Giannis. The problem is he's hardly ever in the right state of mind, or he's hardly ever in the right environment. There's just no synchronicity with KD. Either his head ain't good, environment, but it's good. He's the best player, so he's dynamic enough that if the environment is good and if his head is good, I would go with Brooklyn, despite the wild card that is Kyrie Irving and the unknown that is Ben Simmons. But I think when it gets down, when it all boils down to it, in the half court, I trust KD. Um, I don't trust Kyrie Irving because I think that Kyrie Irving needs to be your second best player with a best player who is strong willed enough to kind of pull the reins in on him. And LeBron was that guy for like 2 years, but even LeBron couldn't sustain it. And Ben Simmons is nothing. I don't even know who Ben Simmons is as a human being. He's a complete and utter mystery. He's a wild card. I don't know who or what he is. So too many variables, too much untrustworthiness. Can't go with Brooklyn. Got to go with Milwaukee to win the whole thing. And I'm going with John Morant to win the MVP. And I got the Clippers coming out of the Western Conference.
I would say, bro, that was very well said. I agree with most of that. I'm gonna pull a Lee Corso and say a not so fast, my friend. And I would say so. Let me start with the MVP thing because I agree with most of your team breakdowns. Honestly, that was very well said. But for the MVP thing, I was thinking Ja Morant as well. I think that he's going to be in the conversation. But the issue that I have with Ja Morant is that they don't, at least last year, they didn't need him. And when
That's
I say
true.
that, and when I say they didn't need him, of course they needed him, but they were whooping teams when he wasn't even in the lineup. I mean,
That's true.
they were beating teams by like 30, and he didn't even dress up.
Yeah, he missed 19 games and Memphis with 18-1.
Yeah. Memphis overall is a good team. And Ja Morant is sexy. So everybody wants to say Ja Morant, and I hear what you're saying because you said it, like they're just gonna blow it up because he's the best player on one of the best teams. So they're gonna blow that up. But I think what they're gonna do first before Ja gets his, I think this is a Luka year. Provided that he's healthy, they're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to have a sound record in the West because the West is looking weaker than it usually does. Mm-hmm. And I think they're going to have a sound record, and I think they're gonna give Luka the MVP this year. Jokic, I mean, he's not going to win it 3 times in a row. I mean, he went donkey last year. Not to say that he can't do it again this year, but I don't know how you can outdo what you did for 3 seasons straight. If he does, I mean, my goodness, you know what I'm saying? But I'm a huge Jokic fan, by the way. But I think this is going to be a Luka campaign. He damn near puts up a triple-double every game. And that's without him like really trying. So I really like Luka for MVP this year because he's talented, but also I think they're going to start his campaign. I think they're going to start his campaign, and so yeah, I got Luka for MVP. As far as teams coming out of the West, I agree with you. I like Denver, provided that they stay healthy because they always get into injury situations. But their team is low key stacked. I like how they develop players. I like how they play as a team. So I like Denver. I think the Clippers are still. I think they're too top heavy. I don't think they have enough rotational pieces to compete. Throughout the entire season and then the gauntlet of the playoffs. So and then they always have injury woes themselves. Paul George can never stay healthy, and Kawhi can never stay healthy. Last year was an absolute shark show. I don't know what the hell they were doing last year. But provided that they stay healthy, I do see them, contending. But because Kawhi goes into beast mode in the playoffs, but at the same time, I don't think they have enough legs in a race right now in the NBA. Teams that are well balanced, with a good starting rotation but a solid bench, those are the teams that are going places. And so I don't think the Clippers can do that. The Lakers are an absolute joke. I don't know what the hell they're doing. They're going to go to the playoffs. I mean, they got LeBron, and all things provided, he's not going to miss a game due to injury. Anything is going to be load management. So when LeBron's healthy, they're going to the playoffs. But are they going to contend? That team, all kinds of chemistry issues. Darvin Ham, first time head coach. I'm not buying it. Golden State, they're loaded, bro. They're absolutely loaded. And I hear what you're saying, like, who does that, who goes back to back, all this stuff. But my thing is, man, who's gonna stop what they're doing? And if if they play like how we know they're capable of playing, if Wiseman becomes a rotational piece in what they're doing, they got new dudes that they got on the bench, Jermichael Green and DiVincenzo and all this other stuff, and it's like, man, they got guys. So I don't really see who can compete with that in the long haul. So I think they go to, I think they're minimum Western Conference Finals. But I like your pick. I like your pick for Denver. I like your pick for Denver. I think Denver is solid, and I want to see them go to the finals. This is a personal pick.
yeah,
This is a
yeah,
personal. I want to see them go to the finals. Um, the Grizzlies, I still think they're too young. I think once they hit certain levels of adversity in the playoffs, they won't be able to match levels of intensity. It proved itself last year. I think it's going to prove itself again this year. Um, with Phoenix, um, yeah, I agree with you. There's something off about them. I think they're missing another piece. I think they need another dude. Uh, Chris Paul is historically let people down in the playoffs. I'm not giving him any more passes. Devin Booker, he's a go getter. I love what he does. Aiton, he's big, but he's soft to me. So I really think that the Phoenix Suns are, they're a piece away. Uh, I like the Pelicans not to go to the finals, but I like them to make some noise this year. Provided that Zion stays healthy. But again, he's just doing what Zion does. I mean, he's just too big, man. I'm sorry. He's got to do something about that. And the way he walks, man, he walks with a waddle.
he lumbers. Yeah,
He lumbers, and it's to me that screams structural issues. That at some point he's going to have a foot injury. I'm not wishing nothing on the man, but he just looks like he's athletic, but his frame is not allowing everything that he's trying to do. So don't like that. So in the West, I say in the Western Conference Finals, I like Golden State and Denver to go. The heart says Denver, but if I put money on it, I'm saying Golden State going to the finals out of the West. Then coming out of the East, there's all kinds of stuff going on. Of course, diehard Heat fan here, but they didn't do anything in off season. Um, we do still don't have a big man in the middle. I don't like if at any point that we face a team, because I was at last year when we played Milwaukee, and they just basically just handed it to us. Was that last year?
Well, it was Boston. Boston took us out last
Oh,
year.
Boston, Boston.
Yeah,
Uh,
it went. I think it went 6 games the series, but like they had us down for the ropes, and it took like 40+ point games from Jimmy Butler just to get a win.
that's
Like
right.
Jimmy Butler was playing out of his mind, dropping like 45, 47 points in games. So
That's right. But still,
yeah,
and Tyler got hurt last year, and that's what that
yeah,
was.
he did get hurt. It's just with the Heat, like, and again, I want so badly for us to get back and win it, but you can't. I'm sorry, but like I look at these rosters that have a chance to win,
Hmm.
and like with all due respect, Max Strus would not get minutes on Milwaukee. You know, so it's guys like that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's that type of like. And look, I respect what the Heat do in terms of um,
Scouting.
farm and the scouting and yeah, bringing up people that you drafted and kind of signing guys off of who didn't work off of other rosters, but you can make it fit because player development. The Heat
Hmm.
do player development very well, but at the end of the day, man, these rotational pieces that the Heat puts out there, Gabe Vincent, he's another one.
Yeah.
Like and I respect those guys, but they are 9 and 10s off the bench to me, even in the regular season. In a playoff rotation, guys like that are only seeing the court if there's injuries, in my opinion.
Hmm.
But for us, they get considerable minutes in high leverage situations in the playoffs, and so
Yes.
that's why I just kind of feel like I don't really think we have a legit shot. As much as I want to be wrong about that.
Yeah. And one more thing about the Heat, since we're Heat guys, I'm over the Duncan Robin experience. Y'all,
That's another one, yeah.
yeah, I'm over that. Overpaid. I was never a fan of, even when the whole, hey, we gotta re-sign Duncan. I was like, let him go.
Yeah.
We created Duncan Robinson out of clay. We could make another one. So I don't see what's going on. And hell, Struce was outplaying him last year. That's why he was getting more minutes.
Which is
And
saying something. Yeah. Bro,
I don't like that.
Duncan Robinson was benched. Like he wasn't even playing. Like once we got past the first round, he wasn't even playing.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even because he's such a liability. And offensively, he's so one-dimensional. If he's not catching and shooting, he gives you nothing offensively. And
Mhm,
on defensively, they were just targeting him every time. Who's
mhm,
he guarding? Okay, give the ball to that guy. So he got benched because of that. And
mhm.
he's getting paid like $80 million. So
Oh my god. Yeah, don't get me started with that. And then as far as the Celtics, uh I still don't like their bench. I feel like a lot of their success last year was from their coach. I feel like he was actually sharp enough to actually get those guys to perform above what their actual talent is. Even though they're talented, I feel like they were outplaying playing above their heads a little bit. And I felt like that was a lot to do with coaching. And without their coach, it'll be interesting to see how they handle all of this stuff. But Tatum, we'll see how he handles this season. But greatly disappointed in his last the playoff performance that he had last year. That was just atrocious. As far as Brooklyn is concerned, um, I'm a Ben Simmons truther. I'm a Ben Simmons believer. He doesn't want to shoot jumpers, but he can't shoot jumpers.
it's not
So
about shooting. Yeah, but it's not about shooting with him. It's about his indifference. Like he's just I don't want to play with people who are just out there like, huh, whatever. Like I don't lean into your strength. Like don't get out there in a playoff game and drive baseline. You're 6'10 and you have a dunk or a layup and you pass the ball on the baseline. Why are you doing stuff like that? That's the thing. I don't care about the fact that you can't shoot. I don't even care about that. The free throw thing is a problem though, because
yeah, it is. It is.
if you can't have a guy that talented out on the court when it matters the most in those high leverage minutes in the fourth quarter of a playoff game, because if he gets fouled, he's going to miss the free throws. That's a problem. That's a
Mhm.
problem. But beyond the free throw thing, I don't care about the shooting thing. It's just his general approach to life to me is just something that I don't want on my teams. So like, that Hawk series a couple years ago, after that I was like, I don't know what you got going on, Ben Simmons. Like, dunk the ball. These are obvious scoring situations and you're just doing things that make no sense. So that's my only contention with Ben Simmons. I don't really care about the shooting thing.
That's fair. And that's fair because his indifference does rub me the wrong. That's the one part about him that I don't care for myself. But overall, I like his game. I feel like his vision is top notch. Somebody his height and his size, uh, his ability to handle the ball and make the passes that he make, defend as good as he can. I like him, and I think that provided he stays healthy, which is a big thing in the NBA, dudes cannot stay healthy. But
Yeah.
provided that he stays healthy, I do think Brooklyn can't, because here's the thing. I think that Ben knows he reminds me, outside of the indifference, he reminds me a lot of myself when
Mm-hmm.
when I played, because he just fits in where he has to make sure that the team is running like a well-oiled machine. And so Kyrie just wants to shoot. Well, now he actually has somebody that can bring it up the court. And KD, all he wants to do is shoot. And now he
Mm-hmm.
finally has somebody that can give him the ball in those pockets that he wants, and not watch Kyrie dribble the ball around for 20 seconds. So I like him being a piece amongst those two ball hogs, and him being the third member of the trifecta. Him not being the one that wants to shoot because you have two people who take enough shots for three people. I think that will work somehow. I really think that will work. So how far will it go? I don't know. I agree with your take that somebody has to, KD has to take the reins away from Kyrie, because I don't want Kyrie taking the last shot. I want KD taking it, and I want KD being the man, and because somebody has to be the man. It can't be 1A and 1B.
Yeah. Somebody has to just be the leader of the team. Yeah.
Right, and I
Like,
think I think KD has to be that guy. Like when LeBron did it with Wade, Wade had to take a step back because LeBron wasn't going to give it up.
mm-hmm.
So Wade took his step back, and it made it work. So I think that if Brooklyn can figure that little thing out, I think that they could do some stuff. I think they could. As far as the 76ers, um, I'm not a Embiid believer. I don't know what it is about him that I don't think has what it takes. I don't know he gets his numbers, he fills the stat sheet, but it's something, I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but I just think he doesn't have the it factor.
Mm-hmm.
And if there was a situation where it's the last shot in a game, or a pivotal situation, I want Jokic taking that shot. I want Luka taking that shot. I want, there's a whole bunch of people that I want shooting that before Embiid. And so, hell, even on his own team, I would rather have James Harden take that. And James Harden's no clutch guy either, but I would rather have James Harden shoot it. So Embiid is big. He's a problem. He's going to do his thing. I'm not saying he's not great. I'm not saying he's not one of the best players in the NBA. I just think he's missing like an internal factor that requires him to be that super elite kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as Milwaukee, because everybody else in the East is, they do stuff, but they don't do enough. So as far as Milwaukee, how can you not like Giannis? Like you said, he has such an impact on whatever everybody else is doing. He's just an animal, and
Yeah.
he gets better and better every season. You can clearly tell he refines his game and try to get
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
And I love Holiday, and the reason why they were able to win was because of Holiday. They got rid of the Bledsoe stuff, and Holiday plays on both ends of the court. He's highly underrated, and he's not appreciated enough, in my opinion. And Middleton, that guy, just fills it up. He's a walking bucket. He reminds me of an old school basketball player, Glenn Robinson type, Ray Allen type, not with the threes, but just with the fact that leave him open, he's automatic. I like what Milwaukee's doing. Everybody else, so I'm going Brooklyn to the finals. I said it. I'm saying Brooklyn to the finals. So Brooklyn. So if I put my money on it, okay, Heart Brooklyn. Heart Brooklyn. Money on the line, Milwaukee. Money on the line, Milwaukee. So I'll do my heart versus heart and money on money. Money on money, Golden State beats Milwaukee. Heart on heart, Denver beats Brooklyn. So we'll see what happens. And then heart and head says Luka for MVP. That's what I'm going for that.
I got you. Yeah, I hear all of that. Yeah, we differ a little bit on Embiid. I really like Embiid. I just think that Embiid is like one of those people who needs to play with somebody who can control the tempo of the game and just let him be Embiid. Yeah. But that person is also able to bring what they bring to the table and maximize that. And so I think thus far in his career, he hasn't had that. Because like Ben Simmons is just he's a walking contradiction. He can't be trusted. And then you get James Harden, and James Harden has eroded right before our very eyes. Like, this is not Houston James Harden. So Embiid's looking at James Harden like, bro, can I get Houston James Harden? I think that's what Embiid wants. Like, he's just like, I just need my other guy to be who he is at the tip top of his, and he thus far has not had that. But I think the thing with Embiid that I like is I think he cares, and I think when he loses, he's miserable, and I don't think he likes it, and I think he gives it his all. He just and he can do almost everything except like the handle part, which he's over 7 feet tall. So I just think he looks for like I feel like if James Harden was, and obviously not very many guys have this mentality, but you get what I mean. I think if James Harden in his head was like Jimmy Butler, I think Philly would be different. But James Harden is not Jimmy Butler in his head. He doesn't approach life that way. James Harden doesn't care like that. He's not working out in the offseason, keeping his body in shape, putting up 1,000 shots a day. James Harden gonna be at the club. So like, I feel like that's what Embiid wants, and him not having it isn't necessarily an indictment on him. But more or less, I do agree. I do hear what you're saying, though. So the Denver thing is interesting. I know my pick in the West is the Clippers, and that's a complete shot in the dark because I'm just looking at the roster and the coach, and I'm assuming Kawhi Leonard is finally going to not get hurt. But Denver is a real legitimate thing. They are loaded too, and Jokic is just reliable. You can trust him. He's just going to be there, and he's going to do his thing, and it's just he's a superstar, like legit. And I don't throw that. There's like 5 of those guys in the league to me. I'm not like First Take where you got like 15 dudes who are superstars. No, there's only like 4 or 5 of those people, and to me, Jokic is one of them. But the Clippers thing, to me, I'm just looking at coach and health and Kawhi. That's why I'm kind of going Clippers. I hear what you're saying about Golden State. I'm just playing the odds on that. Honestly, on paper they should go back and repeat, but I'm just playing the odds on that. And teams just don't repeat. They just don't do it for whatever reason. Somebody gets hurt, or somebody just starts not playing as good, or somebody gets traded. Something happens, and for whatever reason they don't go back. And so I'm just kind of looking at the Clippers and Denver in the West, and at the moment I'm giving the edge to the Clippers because I do look at Kawhi like he's that deal when the playoffs roll around. He's kind of ambivalent too, which is an issue. But right. I like Ty Lue as a coach, and I feel like they can get it together as long as everybody stays healthy. I guess I'm kind of putting blind faith into the Clippers. The MVP thing is interesting. I just kind of feel like Ja Morant is going to get it as long as he plays all the games. Because at the end of the day, no one's going to say, well, last year he
You're
didn't
right.
play, and no one's going to care. They're just
Right.
going to be like, oh, he gets 20, he's averaging 27, 8 assists, and 7 rebounds, and he has the ball all the time. And he's on national television all the time, and he's going to have a bunch of highlight plays and dunks and all of this kind of stuff. And so that's the kind of stuff that usually leads to a guy winning MVP, because Memphis as a team is going to have a better record than Dallas. So I just kind of think that that's what gives Ja Morant the edge over the Mavericks. It's going to be the team record thing. But in actuality, when it comes to who's more valuable to their team, Luka is more valuable to his team than Ja Morant is by far. And yeah, I'm just looking at the East, and I just can't trust Kyrie and Ben Simmons. And because of that whole because of the whole, even though I like Embiid, because of the whole Harden thing, I'm looking at Giannis and the Bucks, and I'm just like, Giannis affects everything. And even though they're top heavy, their top is top.
Yeah.
Between Middleton and Holiday and Giannis.
Yeah.
And the only reason why they didn't go back last year is because Middleton got hurt.
Right.
Like I firmly believe the Celtics would not have been in the finals if Middleton had not gotten hurt against the Bulls. So that's the only reason why they didn't make it back, and they got better. So yeah, I like Milwaukee out of that. And yeah, you brought another thing I forgot to mention. You brought up DiVincenzo. That's a sneaky thing with Golden State. That
I'm telling you, bro.
So, no, I agree with you. I agree that they are absolutely loaded. I'm just playing the odds on that because teams just don't repeat. But that's pretty much what I got on what's going to happen this year.
Where y'all give Middleton his flowers, and y'all give Holiday his flowers, because those guys are never talked about, but those guys are just absolute ballers. If you watch Holiday play defense, this guy is playing chess with other people. He's a step ahead of everybody. It's amazing watching him play. I love watching them play, just overall. I like how they play basketball. So get them boys their flowers, man. Them boys is goated out there.
Yeah, no, you can give me Drew Holiday any day of the week. I would trade a first-round draft pick for Drew Holiday
Absolutely.
in a hot minute. Yeah, because he's getting in there, and he's just getting those. He's picking pockets and just getting steals on point guards, like NBA point guards, and don't leave him open because he'll make shots. Yeah, he's just I agree. I'm Team Drew Holiday on that all day as well. So yeah, there you have it, man. That's what we got to say about this year's NBA season.
We love basketball over here.
Yeah. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know where we going crazy at. But it's exciting, man. I always say November, today's October 18th, man. October's a good month, but I've always felt like November was the best sports month of the year because NFL had games that, every NFL game matters, but once you get in November, you get those games that, like, if you lose, bro, that's it. And college football, you get those big games that matter, and then NBA is in full swing. So, like, November is just the time to be alive if you like sports. But there you have it. Those are our NBA predictions. With that, we'll go ahead and move on. Next, we are going to talk about a clip that I ran across in which a woman suggests that single fathers are actually more attractive than men who do not have kids. So it's an interesting soundbite. So we'll play what she had to say. This clip was on World Star. I do not know the original source upon which this video can be found. These clips get uploaded to YouTube. These clips get uploaded to World Star on a daily basis. So that's where I found it. So we'll hear what she has to say and then react to that.
I guess if the father is in their life and stuff, that is kind of a turn on to a woman. Like, he'll take care of his kid. Is it? Yeah. I think it's attractive. If I see a man out like with his kids, like at the grocery store or at the zoo or picking them up from school or something, I think that is so attractive. Let me ask you a question. No, I think that's so attractive. Like, it's attractive. Like, I think every woman probably feels like that because it's rare to see men in their
Wait. So it's more of a turn on for you to see a dude taking care of his kid than a dude with no kid.
Yep.
Adjust that mic, Shawty. Yeah, let's do that.
So yeah, there you have it. Straight on. Yeah, it's more attractive to see a dude taking care of his kid than a dude with no kids. So what do you have to say about that?
I can say that I hear her perspective on that, and that's not the first time I've heard that. So I'm not shocked by it. And there's a lot of dynamics that can play into that. So I'll start with saying that when there's such a low bar and expectation for Black males to be taking care of their kids, and then it's actually being seen and done in public, that guy gets all kinds of praise and accolades for doing what he was supposed to do. So yeah, so a guy at the I've seen it too, like, being in the mall and dude to have a stroller or a baby, in his hand or something, or walking hand in hand with his kid. Girls would stop by and, oh, she's so cute, oh, he's so cute, what's the name, blah 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 blah. And this guy's getting action because he's in the mall with a kid. So I've seen this before. Now the whole thing of being more attractive than a single guy, I can't call that. I don't know what that's about, but I do know that those guys do get a lot of play because they're doing, unfortunately, what's not the norm. So normally we're seeing, babies attached to the hips of the mothers and stuff like that. But it's not very common or often to see a dad by himself with his kids. I would like to say it's happening more and more often, though, that fathers are stepping up to the plate and making sure that they're doing what previous generations were failing at. So I would like to acknowledge that. I think that is a growing thing, and shouts out to you brothers out there that's actually doing those things. But yeah, I really think that she has a point in the regards that women actually do hold that to a high esteem, and because there's a lot of things that come with a man who's doing that. So he's already showing that he's a provider. Another thing, he's already showing that he's a protector. He's already showing that he's a caregiver. So on display immediately, she's seeing a lot of father-like qualities in a man already, and he didn't even say hello yet. So I think that is where the initial attraction comes in at. So I've got more to say, but what were your initial thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was pretty much along the same wavelength. I'm reminded of the Chris Rock. Chris Rock had the bit from way back in the day on Bring the Pain, where he was talking about black fathers, and he was talking about how black men always looking for credit for things they supposed to do. So the joke is like, man, I take care of my kids. And he's like, well, you supposed to. I'm not gonna say it the way he said it in the video because he got a little vulgar, but right. It reminded me of that. Very, very funny stuff, man. Classic Chris Rock. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about the qualities that it infers to see a guy taking care of a kid. I think that's what this is about. So I believe as much as we try to move away from some of the intrinsic ideals that have always made sense with respect to how men and women operate, certain things stay the same. And I think some of the things that will never change is I do believe that women are intrinsically drawn to men who exhibit certain qualities. And some of those qualities are being a provider, and being a provider, being a protector, and all of that kind of stuff. Those are intrinsic qualities that women just find naturally attractive. It's like coded in their DNA; they can't help it. If they're like interested in men, heterosexual, like if what they want, if what they desire is a man. I don't think any of that goes away. I think it's similar to like if a woman is driving through a neighborhood and she sees a guy on a ladder, nailing drywall, or if she sees a guy drilling holes because he's putting a deck together or something like that, a man who's good with his hands, or a guy who's got the hood open trying to change his own oil, or he's rotating his own tires. Like, I think women intrinsically find those types of things attractive because there's a baseline there are certain baseline qualities that exhibit masculinity, and when women encounter those, I think they're naturally attracted to those. So when you see a guy out with his kid, yeah, it infers that he's a caregiver and a protector and a provider, and I think women intrinsically find that stuff attractive. I know SJW 2022 world. Oh, gender rules, we don't like gender stuff. Women can do the same thing men can do. Generally speaking, guys who do that, that's a quality that women find attractive, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to suggest that women can't do those things. I'm just saying it's a good thing for a man to exhibit that kind of stuff. It's why a guy can be a single father and it not be a death nail to him as a dater. See, the rules don't operate in reverse. Like, a woman out and about with her kid as a single mother, it doesn't have the same effect for men. Like, men generally do not look at a single mother and say, oh man, look at her taking care of her kid, I want to date her. It doesn't work that way. This is one aspect in which advantage goes to the men, because the qualities that being a single mother infers are certain things that men probably find not desirable. Right. Whereas, qualities that are inferred from a man being a single father, women might glean certain desirable traits from that. So it's an interesting way to kind of examine the dichotomy between men and women and how some of these gender roles play themselves out in real time. And then also, I just kind of feel like a lot of this is just based on opportunities to view certain things in action. Like, the only reason why she feels that way is because, like, let's be honest, like, for the most part, a man being a single father and being a caregiver to his kid, he is going to operate in that context differently than a woman would. Like, a woman is going to take a single woman will take her kid to the mall or to the bowling alley or to a park or something like that. Like, a lot of men don't do that. Like, a lot of men, they hang out with their kid at the house, or they, are, helping them out with homework at home. Like, you don't really often see single father guy hanging out with his young kid at the mall. And so, because you see less of that with men juxtaposed to women, women feel like it's so refreshing to see a man doing it, when really it's a lot of guys doing it. It's just men don't do it in the same way that women do. So because you're not seeing it, because women are mostly in malls and department stores and at grocery stores, it's less men who do that. And, for sure, less single fathers who do that. So because in these public spaces, the context of it is more women occupying these spaces than men, it creates this misconception that, men in general who aren't single fathers, don't exhibit those qualities. Really, what this boils down to is because you see these guys, because these guys are in these spaces, you're seeing the kid, and so you're drawing a parallel, and you're saying, oh, single fathers are more attractive because they exhibit these qualities. But you're also seeing these people in these places more than guys who don't have kids, because across the board, there's less men who do this kind of stuff. Like, less men are in the mall shopping, less men are taking strolls in the park, less men don't do that as much. But a guy can be at home with his kid helping out with the homework, or watching a Netflix show, or going to a parent-teacher conference and stuff like that. So it's an interesting conversation, and it is nuanced, but a lot of it has to do with, like, what women see. And they're gleaning from what they see that it's about the single fathers, when really this is sort of a generalization about what all men do. And it isn't necessarily that men who are single fathers are the only ones who exhibit those qualities that women find attractive, but because more likely than not, men who are single fathers who are active do have those traits. It would make sense why a woman such as her would have that opinion.
Mm-hmm. Very well said. And it's not it. Well, women of course are opposite, and just like how you said, the average male, especially nowadays with the manosphere and all of this red pill stuff going on, uh, these guys don't want to deal with single moms, and so they're not going to pick that up. And so personally, I have relatives who stepped up to the plate and dealt with single mothers. They adopted they adopted the kids and they married the woman. And they've been married for over 20 plus years. Is marriage perfect? No, but hell, they got, their own kids and the stepchild, and everything's rocking and rolling. But the manosphere and the red pillars, they're anti this right now. There's a whole campaign launched out there, which I understand, but at the same time, um, I'm a family dude. I really believe in, um, some women make mistakes, much like guys make mistakes, and yeah, they may not. You got 3 kids from 4 dudes. All right. If that's your scenario, then hey, well then okay, pump the brakes. But a one-on-one, things happen, man. And especially if they had that kid when they were like in high school or some crap like that.
Yeah.
So things happen. So but nevertheless, men frown upon that, nowadays. And women therefore being opposite, uh they don't frown upon it. So they actually like seeing those types of things. So that's just how that rolls out, in that respect. But I really think that when it comes to people who may have come from single homes themselves, or maybe something like that, just seeing that there's a father out there who actually gives a damn about their child enough to be in the mall, or enough to be walking hand in hand with their kid going across the street. I ain't even gonna lie, it warms my heart when I see it. And I'm a dude. And I'm like, hey, bro, go get it, man. You're taking care of yours, because deep down, unfortunately, we've seen enough and heard enough that fathers aren't stepping up to the plate and handling their business the way that they're supposed to. So I know people who, now I haven't been in that situation before, but I've talked to dudes before who have kids out there, and they're saying that the baby mother doesn't want anything to do with him or nothing like that. She's keeping the kid away and all of that stuff. Me personally, and this is from the outside looking in or what have you, but I always felt if I was in that situation, the courts was going to have to deal with all of us. And I'm going to constantly be making sure that I'm getting my part of custody or something. I always felt like there's some type of fight you can put up. Just the fact that she ran to another state, hell, I might move over there too. So, those types of things, but I'm not in those situations. So who knows, how those things play out. But I really feel like, fathers out there that actually do want to take that step and make sure that their kids are taken care of and make sure that that male figure is in their life. I think those guys do deserve a pat on the back. And if they get one from me, and if the pat on the back from a woman is extra vagina, well then hell, bro, just cash in your rewards.
Yeah.
Get your rewards points. But
Yeah.
but like you were saying, like just because I'm not walking hand in hand with a kid and I don't have a stroller while I'm in the mall doesn't mean that I don't have the same qualities as bro that is walking with that kid. So
Right.
to skim over a man because he doesn't have that, it's kind of, it's not all the way, well informed and not the right thought process. But and I'm pretty sure if there was some type of lineup of guys, and there's a whole, there's single guys and then there's guys, with a kid in hand, I think a lot of women would choose the single guy, because I still think they think it's attractive, uh on that regard, but everybody, wants their own for the most part. I don't think everybody wants a Brady Bunch type of situation. And I think that her saying that, I don't know if that's all. I think she just thinks it's attractive. And that's why bro was like, now hold on, and you really saying that? I think she thinks that gesture is attractive. I don't think that she wants to actually, nope, where's the single fathers with kids?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that does seem a bit outlandish.
It seems a bit extra,
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it is. I think women do find it attractive, unlike men who find single women unattractive. And me personally, whenever I see a baby mom out there, the first things that go through my head is, what's this situation about? And what does she want me for? To play daddy? And I've been in situations like that, and they wanted me to play daddy. They didn't really want me to be around. They just wanted me to provide and do all this other stuff. I was just an accessory and a helper, more than them actually caring about me. And if they care about that kid, of course it's theirs, but they care about that kid more than the relationship. So yeah, man, it's a nuanced conversation for sure, but I think that she was speaking on 1 degree, and I don't think she was actually speaking of the whole 360. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then another thing that we have to point out, or at least I'll point out, is you don't know, like, a lot of this can boil down to the types of environments that people come from. So, like, I don't know who this chick is, but for all I know, she could have come from an environment where single parenthood was a very regular occurrence, a very normal thing. Almost like where it's like like I've met girls who pretty much anticipate becoming baby mothers. Like they already, it's like, it's strange. Like, in my opinion, people who have a more balanced approach to life are going to seek relationships that are meaningful before taking. Now, of course, like you said, things happen. Sometimes a mistake is made, so on and so forth. But generally speaking, people who care about family and children, I would think that ideally you're going to do it within the context of a functional relationship. Thereby, you're going to establish that relationship first. But there are people who don't look at life that way, and it's not necessarily their fault. Although once you realize the paradigm that you've been in, you have the ability to change your paradigm. But nevertheless, there are people who don't look at life that way. So if you come from a context where single parenthood was just a normal part of reality, where it's like, oh, I'm pregnant again, it's like guys who, it's like people who are like in and out of jail. Going to jail isn't a big deal. Like if I go to jail, I'm a die. That's a big deal. Like
you're just gonna die from just being in there.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. Like if I go to jail, it will wreck me mentally, emotionally. I didn't come from that context though.
Right.
But you have guys who kind of come from a different walk of life. If they get bammed up or whatever, or they get sent up, or they happen to have to go to jail or whatever, prison, whatever the case may be, is nothing to them. It's like a normal thing. Like, oh, I'm out. I just got out. Or I'm about to go in. I got to do 6 months or whatever. It's normal almost. And so it can be the same thing when it comes to like being a single parent. Like, again, I don't know who she is, but she could very well have come from a context where being a single parent is like a normal reality, or a normal part of her reality. So like it's nothing for her to be a single mom, or it's nothing for her to actively seek single fathers, because that's what she knows. That's what her reality is. So some of that has to be taken into account too. Like it all depends on environment and context and background and history. But moreover, I do think that this is a case of like seeing is believing. So, it's not that men who aren't single fathers shouldn't be perceived as attractive because they must inherently lack the qualities that women seek. But you know that if you see a guy out there with his kid, it's like you know that he has those qualities, or at least that's what you think from seeing it. And so it's just preferential treatment is given in that regard because you kind of assume, you conclude that this is what this guy is about. So it's just what the eye sees. And so, you know, women like her, well, I'm not going to say women like her, I'm not trying to be negative, but women who have that kind of mentality, when they see that, then that's kind of what they conclude. And, you know, otherwise though, you know, it's not a one, it's definitely not a one size fits all thing, because you got a lot of guys out there who try to take care of their kids, but they're still shitty dudes. And you got a lot of guys who are not single fathers but are good men, and then also vice versa. So it just depends. It depends on the situation and the individual. But yeah, it's interesting to hear those types of comments because you do have women who think that way. I've seen it too. I've run across that. Yeah. So kudos to all the single fathers out there. You guys are doing your thing.
Yeah, keep it up, y'all.
Yeah, for real. Just, you know, have day dates with your kid. Take your kid to the mall, because a lot of women go to the mall. So if you're a single guy out there, if you're a single guy out there and you're active, frequent places where a lot of women go, because the action is gonna come to you, apparently, according to this. Apparently, you know, I'm just guessing here. But all right, we're gonna go ahead and kill that topic. And next up, we are going to talk about another channel favorite. Brittany Renner. Brittany Renner is a friend of the channel. We have a few friends of the channel. We got Brittany Renner, we got Kanye, people who are just content. Lizzo, that's another one. Yeah, content factories for the channel. And Brittany Renner is definitely a content factory for the channel. So shouts out to you, Brittany Renner, for helping us out. But before we get into this topic, once again, I want to say, if you're watching this video, we definitely invite you to join the community, join the Conscious Approach community, man. We appreciate your support, logical content. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button, comment on this video. Let us know where we going crazy. Let us know where we hit it out of the park. But, you know, for sure, you know, join the community, hit that subscribe button. We certainly appreciate it. So now, moving along, Brittany Renner was a guest on a podcast. I'll have to look up the name of this podcast and put the link to it in the description of this video once I do. But Brittany Renner was talking about, you know, essentially she was talking about not wanting to be single, but it's hard out here. And so it's going to take a man who is courageous enough to date her. This man is going to have to be strong and courageous enough to be with her. So it's a short clip here, but you get the gist of what she was getting at, and then we'll go ahead and provide our analysis.
I get that going.
Who's going to have the courage to love unapologetically, to tune out all of that noise? She's a whore. She's gonna use you. You're such a simp. Who as a man? And you know, I've told you 30 people, doesn't matter if it's 30 or 300. I've said certain things publicly that I'm gonna stand on. What man is gonna feel secure enough to date me, feel good enough to be my man, to not feel inadequate and want to talk to other people? It's so multi-layered to where it's like, it's not, people think it's someone in the industry or not. They think it's that simple. It's not.
So how do you? All right, there you go. Yeah.
And this is Anton Daniels. That's the name of his channel.
Got it. Anton Daniels. So yeah. Who's going to have the courage? Who's going to be strong enough? Who's not going to feel inadequate, or who's going to feel good enough to be with me, is what she was getting at there. And so, you know, obviously the history of Brittany Renner at this point is extensive. We won't get into the history. You can look her up and her antics. But yeah, so clearly she's someone who wants to be wifed up. And I'm not putting words in her mouth. She said that she does want to be wifed up. She speaks as though she is about that wifed up, domesticated life. Now, her behavior and her actions may suggest otherwise, but I'll leave that up for you to decide. She nevertheless talks about wanting this for herself. And so whenever she gets an opportunity to speak on this and, some of the challenges that she's experiencing therein, she doesn't hesitate to offer up, her thoughts on that. And so that's what that was there. So interested to hear what your response is to what Brittany Renner had to say about that.
Well, I would like to say, how can I say this? So, she's clearly speaking in code there, her form of code, thought code, and basically, casting a net out there for anybody who may be watching or paying attention, uh, to actually try to wife her up. I think she's caught such a bad rap in these streets that the things that she's saying, that she's a whore, she's this, she slept with this many people, you can't trust her, all of these things. But these were all things that she said on all of her lives or her videos, or her just being open and candid. She was basically exposing herself, and then men who are watching this are telling other men, hey, don't go deal with that. She clearly says she's about XYZ type of lifestyle. So don't entertain her and don't give her the wifey title, because, yeah, bruh, you're going to be out here looking like a simp and a duck, because everybody knows her history. She told us. So right now, I felt like this, little spill here was some form of damage control, in order to make sure that, anybody with a listening ear goes, man, you know what? She right. You know what I'm saying? I'll give her a try. I'll give that a try. But this is the same type of talk that she would have given any kind of man who would have been in her close quarters, that she didn't, smash off the rip because he wasn't a ball player or whatever. And then so since this is the type of talk that most, women of the evening do. So I find it hard to believe that she's wifey material unless you have a different definition of what a wife is. And if you have a more traditional form of what you think a wife is, she doesn't fit it. She been done past that line. So if they have a more modern approach on how to deal with, women like her, and they wife her up, but they have some type of understanding that it's going to be an open type of situation, but they're still together, then I think that is the lane that she needs to exist in. But to sit here and holler that he feels like he has to go holler at other bitches and stuff because she's doing her thing. Well, what do you expect? I mean, like I said, your life story is already out there. So how can a man really trust you and say, you know what, I'm not going to do anything because my wife, Brittany Renner, isn't doing anything? And it's just like, yeah, bro, you do sound like a simp. You do sound like a dork. And yeah, so if anybody out there is buying this, which I don't think they are, then yeah, they belong in the simp category. So what were your initial thoughts with this one?
Yeah, she's been on a tour
Mm-hmm.
of this type of stuff for a while. Pretty much ever since the PJ Washington thing, she's been on a, I wonder sometimes, and this is pure speculation on my part, but I wonder sometimes if she had never had a child, whether she would be so apt to take every opportunity that she can to talk about what it's going to take in order for her to find relationship happiness. I truly do wonder, like, having kids changes a lot, and it changes people, and it changes your situation. And, I just wonder sometimes, if she didn't have a child, would she still be doing this? Would she still be up to the same stuff? I am of the belief that if she had never had a kid, we wouldn't be hearing her talking about being wifed up or being a mother, or well, she's already a mother, but or being in a relationship, married, and all of that kind of stuff. You know, I feel like that I feel like that rhetoric has increased in frequency from her over the last couple of years because her life circumstances changed. That's my personal opinion. Because, you know, it doesn't matter what she's on, one of these dating podcasts, or which she was with Kevin Samuels before he passed away. She was even on Cam Newton's YouTube show twice. And this always comes up. And she basically talks the same talk in every video. And this is all post-child, post PJ Washington. So I kind of feel like she'll never admit this publicly, but I feel like having the child changed a lot of this for her, because as a woman, you have less leverage to go around operating your life in this way, if this is something that you truly want for yourself. You know, I said this a couple videos ago. Everybody thinks they have time until they don't have time, and when you become a parent, your window of opportunity drastically decreases in every respect. So, you know, damage control is a pretty effective way to characterize it. I do think that a lot of this is going on, but you know, Brittany Renner to me is just kind of she's trying to circumvent the system, which is what a lot of people out here who think that they can do whatever they want, say whatever they want to say, behave whatever in however manner they want to behave, because the rules must not apply to you. These people out here who just want social and civil anarchy, they do what they do, and then in retrospect, when they regret it because they see how some of it has cost them in certain respects, they want to walk it back and talk about how they are deserving of certain things. But they're seeing the treatment that they get. So in order to try and convince people that they are deserving, they turn it around and make it about those individuals. So, you know, Lizzo, for example, with the body positivity stuff, trying to reinvent the wheel. Like, listen, if you're going to dress the way that you dress, I've said this a zillion times and I'll keep saying it. If you're going to dress the way that you dress, accept that people are going to say things about you, because when you are your size and shape and you go out in public and you're half naked, people are going to have their critiques. That, in my opinion, does not constitute body shaming. It just means get with the program. Like, if you're going to dress like that, you should probably work on yourself physically so that it would make more sense that you dress that way. And, you know, Brittany Renner, in my opinion, is kind of trying to do the same thing, but on the relationship front. Like, I don't live in the world of hypotheticals. I don't live in a parallel universe. I live in the world as it is constructed presently. I don't live in the world of rainbows and unicorns. This is not pie in the sky. This is the real world. And in the real world, writing a book detailing the dozens of men that you slept with in the entertainment and professional sports world is not going to help you get a respectable husband and live that white picket fence lifestyle. It's just the reality. And I know that we don't want that to be the reality, because we want anarchy. We want people to be OnlyFans models and Instagram models and slur it up in the entertainment industry, but still be respected and looked upon as a viable wife and mother. That's what we want. But what we want isn't what we get all the time. And what we get is what the real world is. And I'm sorry to Brittany Renner and others who do want this social anarchy, but when you do these types of things, there are consequences to be had from that. You're going to have to pay a price. So you wrote this book talking about all of these dudes that you smashed, and you did it proudly. And kudos to you, because, you know, it paved the way. You know, it was a part of your career, and you've had a fruitful career up to this point, and you're self-made. So I respect that about you. Like, I honestly do. But there's a price to pay for everything. Sacrifices have to be made. And, you know, you get what you get based upon your behavior and your actions. You've had a fruitful career. You've lived in the limelight. You've been able to pilot around in the entertainment industry. You've done your thing, and you've made money, and you're self-sufficient. Kudos to you. But the manner in which you've gone about doing it, it's consequential in terms of the long run wanting to be this domesticated wife and mother. There's a price to be paid for that. And unfortunately for you, most men who have the qualities that you seek in terms of guys that you would like to be with are going to look at those choices that you've made and deem them to be undesirable in terms of whether I want to marry this person or not, in terms of whether I want to procreate with this person or not. Like, we don't live in a perfect world. This is not the world according to Brittany Renner, right? Just like it's not the world according to JV Wins, and it's not the world according to Dogon SS. I would love to be able to date, have sex, and marry, supermodels and be broke. I would love to live in that world. I honestly would. Like, if somebody came to me tomorrow and said, JV Wins, I'm going to give you the opportunity to date the most beautiful women in the world, and you don't have to have $1 to your name, I'm going to take that. But you know what's going to happen after I accept it? I'm going to wake up and it's going to be the real world where I cannot date women of that caliber if I come to the table with no resources and no finances. I don't necessarily love that that's the way the world is, but I've accepted it. That is how the world is. If I want to be out here getting with, women who, look like Ashanti in her prime, or Lori Harvey, or you could throw women like that all over the place. If I want to be able to get with women like that, I'm going to have to build myself up so that socioeconomically I can operate in those spaces and date those women. And until I do, I'm not going to have that chance. That's the way the real world is. Do I like it? Not necessarily, but it is what it is. And conversely, when you're a woman, make your own decisions, do your thing. Modern feminism, all of that good stuff, good for you. But if you pray tell to be someone who cares about being married and being a family woman, think twice before you write a book about having sex with over 20 or 30 guys in the entertainment industry and the professional sports world. Like, there's a price to be paid for doing this. And again, and like in the last topic, we talked about people who make mistakes in life, right? So you're more than like, everybody makes mistakes, and that's entirely understandable. But she sustained a track record for this for years before she decided that she wanted to change up her tune and offer up something different to the world. And after a certain point, like, the damage is done. So it's interesting, like you brought up this new world stuff and this new human stuff. Like, yeah, maybe she's going to have to consider being a part of a polyamorous relationship or being in an open marriage. You're going to have to consider these things. And this is a bed that you made for yourself. So it is what it is. You can't jump in a DeLorean and go back in time and fix it. You already wrote the book. You already smashed the rappers. You already did what you did with the NBA players and the NFL players. You already did it. So, like, you can't walk it back. So you're just going to have to make the best of a situation, because it is what it is, man. But people need to stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Like, this is not the world as you think it should be. It's the world as it is. And one more thing. At the tail end of that clip, she talked about it not necessarily having to be with men in the industry, and that's a common misconception, that she's one of those women who just has to date a baller or a rapper or something like this. Like, I've heard her say that before. So at least she's consistent in that she's said that kind of stuff publicly in the past. But her behavior suggests the complete and utter opposite. Exactly. So it's like, I don't know what you expect people to do, Brittany Renner. Like, publicly, every man that you've been associated with has been a rapper, an NBA player, or an NFL player every time. So, like, and she says they don't have to be men in the entertainment industry, but when it's not a guy who's in the entertainment industry, there's difficulty with how to navigate with her lifestyle. I find that hard to believe. I really do. Like, I think that some of that is cap. Like, I find it hard to believe that you don't have some rich real estate guys in Brittany Renner's DMs, or guys who make a lot of money, but they're just not in entertainment or sports. I don't know, real estate guys who own car dealerships, guys who own certain businesses, other entrepreneurs. I find it hard to believe that those guys aren't in Brittany Renner's DMs. I really do. And maybe I'm saying that facetiously, and maybe she really doesn't. But I find it hard to believe that the only guys who are coming at you are entertainer guys and athlete guys. I don't buy that. I don't believe it. I think that there's a part of her, much like Lolo Jones, who we talked about weeks ago, who genuinely desires to only be with those types of guys. Publicly, it sounds good to say something that's different, but I think in her mind and in her heart, that's what she's going after. Because if you really wanted to do this family thing, there's a bunch of guys who would still, despite your baggage, be willing to take on said challenge that you spoke of. But you probably disqualify a lot of them because of whatever it is that they do for a living or what they got. I don't know. I'm just saying a woman who physically looks the way she looks, some ain't adding up. I don't know that I buy what she's selling in that regard. So I think some of that is dishonesty on her part. But again, that's reckless speculation on my part. The bigger picture point is you're going to have to accept the bed that you made, and you've made this bed. So make the best of the situation, make the best of it. But this idea that you're just going to get this angelic traditional guy who's going to disregard everything that you've put out there over an extensive period of time, I think that is, I think that you're fooling yourself if that's what your expectation is. And I think that it's a little low to try and flip it around and make it about a guy not having enough courage or not feeling adequate enough. Like, don't switch it around and make it a shaming tactic towards men. Like, no, that just because guys don't want to deal with you does not mean that they feel inadequate or not good enough or that they lack in courage. It's just you've made these choices in your life and this is the price that you pay for them. And so you're just going to have to live with that.
No, well said, but that's what women like her do. So they, like you said, they since there is no leverage. If you know what they're about, they don't have any leg up on you to lie to you about, you know, their body count or, you know, the type of lifestyle that they live or whatever. So they try to call out, and say that you're insecure or you're not, you're not firm enough in your masculinity to handle a woman like me. And it's just like, hey, newsflash, woman, not every woman is like you. So
Right.
I don't have to deal with this type of behavior if I don't want to. So you can't shame me into dating you just because you don't have any other options. And like you said, you made this bed, so go lay in it. You already got 3 or 4 guys in there anyway. So just go in there and have a ball because that's all you do any damn way. So when it comes to her and her actually, trying to these are cries for what normal people have. And she tries to glorify a slut lifestyle. She posted, hide your kids when she went to the Jackson
Hide your
State game.
son. Hide
Yeah,
your son.
hide
Yeah.
your sons. She
Yeah.
posted that. Post baby. And she posted that because she lives this lifestyle of trying to make, the slut type of lifestyle seem trendy and cool. But then on the flip side, she has these cries for help saying that I want to be a wife. You don't. But that's the sad reality of most whores is that they live this lifestyle and they can't control themselves, but deep down inside they want the picket fence and 2.3 kids and a dog. But it's just like, hey, look, I'm sorry, but you are way too far down that trail in order to double back and say that, hey, my bad, mulligan. There's no mulligan on your
Yeah.
walls. Those things are worn. And especially like you said, when you wrote a book chronicalizing the amount of stuff and bragging about it.
Yeah.
So what man in his right mind would wife you up and never explore his options? Because clearly she will. So yeah, I mean, I don't know who's buying this. Like I said earlier, I don't know who's buying this but a simp. And so if there is a situation where, like you said, a polyamorous open situation, then go for it. That's her best shot. And so instead of sounding like a fool and saying that, hey, I'm a wife. No, you're not. And anybody can be a wife. So what does wife mean to you? You know, it does. And so if she is actually a wife, are you going to be loyal? Are you going to shut all of this crazy stuff down? No, no, this is how I pay the bills. You saw the what commercial was that? It wasn't Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A would never have her as a sponsor. I forgot what company it was, but I seen it during a college football game, and it said she said something about these are the only side chicks that's hotter than me, and it was some chicken sandwich. And so she even in her ads in her promo in
Wait,
her
this is Brittany Renner?
yeah.
Oh no, I ain't seen that. No.
Oh, bro. She said the
This was
only
like on
side
this was an ad. This was an ad that came on like TV.
TV, sir.
Oh
While I'm
wow.
watching while I'm watching college football, she said the only side chick's hotter than me, and she pointed to some chicken sandwiches from someplace.
Oh, I gotta look this up. No, I ain't seen
Yeah,
that.
nah, it's on there. It's on the webs. Go search it up. And so this is her persona. This is her persona, and so she's gonna say, "Hey, the only reason." So if Simp A decides to go, you know what, Brittany Renner, I'm gonna give you a fair shot. Let's go do this, and puts a ring on her, right? Then she goes out and then she does something crazy like she did in Rolling Loud, make some crazy post like she did at the Jackson State game. Then here comes Simp A. Hey, I thought you said you weren't gonna do that. Come on, this is how I pay the bills. You bring in your part, I bring in mine. This is part of my brand. That doesn't mean I'm really doing this stuff. If Simp A really's going for this still, then he deserves his name in Simp A.
Yes.
So so yeah, this whole and I don't have anything against her personally. You know, the thing that I have an issue with is the denial and the fact that she's trying to really pull the wool over our eyes to make it seem like she's catching a you know a rough deal, a raw deal, but she's not. And she's literally gotten the hand. She dealt for herself. She literally went through the deck, put all the cards out on the table, and said, "These are the cards I want." And then are mad that everybody knows the hand that she has, and nobody wants to play with her. This is your fault. So I don't have an issue with Brittany Renner per se. I have an issue with the mentality that she has, the narcissism she has, and the fact that she's trying to normalize this type of goofy behavior. There's a lot of young ladies that are watching this who idolize her for whatever reasons, and she's out here preaching this weird gospel. Now those same type of slores are going to be running around saying, "Yeah, I'm a wife too," and it's like, no, you're not. You follow the Brittany Renner. What's that girl name with the bald head? The
Amber Rose.
and the Amber Rose, all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? The Diamond 2000 body lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she's about to be a favorite on the channel too.
Yeah.
Talking all this crazy stuff. So I can't subscribe to that. And any dude that's going out there that is subscribing to that, he has some deeper issues than I can fix. So yeah, man, she's gonna keep this up, this charade up, because honestly, she has no choice. People who live a slutty lifestyle are miserable people. And anybody that's out here that, oh yeah, I don't dudes included, and you out here slaying all these females and stuff, those dudes are miserable. You got hellified stories to tell. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of good memories of this type of body type, that type of girl, this type of girl, that type of menage or whatever. But at the end of the day, that man wants a family too. And so that woman ultimately wants a family, because just like that woman that was in her car that we covered when she was 40 something years old, crying because she's actually reaching a crossroads in her life when things are getting real and there's nobody there to share it with her. There's nobody there to support her. And so Brittany Renner, with all of her you know, publicity and her trying to, just say that, hey, I'm a real woman just like any other. She can say that and keep it. So
yeah, I'm over it. And yeah, I don't know how many people are buying it, but I just think that I find it hard to believe that she has no suitors. It's just she knows that I feel like the quality of the suitors that are coming to her, she knows it's not what she wants. But it's like, look, this is what you're gonna get because of your previous behavior. So I just think that you're just gonna have to make the best of the situation. And as weird or crazy as it may seem, you're going to probably, in all likelihood, have to concede that your best bet is finding some baller or rapper or entertainer who's willing to wife you, because that's the only kind of relational compatibility that you're going to find at this point.
Yep.
In all likelihood, it'll be toxic and dysfunctional.
Yep.
But that's your best bet if what you're really seeking is a ring. But you can't, it's hard to readjust to a civilian life. You can't serve in the armed forces for 40 years and then, discharge yourself, and now you're out in the real world trying to be a civilian. There's certain PTSD elements that are going to come into play.
Exactly.
And I just feel like for her, this is just, she's keeping it together as best she can, even though she melts down too, because she has some posts that she did where she started crying and all kind of stuff like that. So she's prone to her meltdowns as well, where she'll publicly just start crying in a post or something like that. But yeah, there's an emptiness there. When you live like that, it's good in the moment, but then there's that empty feeling that you feel when it's over. And that emptiness is going to persist as long as you keep doing it. But the problem is, once you try to turn over a new leaf and do things different, it's hard to be a different person. And like I said, if this was the perfect world, people would look past all that and just say, oh yeah, she is wifey material and wife quality. This is not that. This is the real world, where people determine your behavior and your actions and your history in terms of, and they use that to formulate your relative value in terms of, being a wife and all of that kind of stuff, domesticated and being a mother and so on and so forth. So good luck to her, but I think she has an uphill battle to climb, and she's going to have to reevaluate her approach to this whole thing, because look no further than some of the video vixens from the 90s and 2000s. A lot of them chicks still single their damn self.
Yep.
It's only so you can only be all of these women: Vita Guerrera, Gloria Velez, Melissa Ford. Ain't now one of these women married. So, and there's a reason for that. So good luck. I guess keep up the good work. But you got a lot of hard work ahead of you, and it is what it is.
Unintended.
For real. It pun 100% intended. But yeah, and a man's reluctance to take that baggage on is not indicative of their lack of adequacy or courage or masculinity or security. That's a you problem. Don't project that. That's a you problem. So it is what it is, man. With that, we are going to go ahead and close out this week's topics. Certainly appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. This was a good show, man. Mario's on location. I mean, Dogon, he's on location this week. He's on location this week, man. Yeah. So
y'all see the beach? I'm in Miami.
Yeah. He done snuck down to the motherland, man. So appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. As always, my name is JV Wins. That is Dogon SS. You can follow Conscious Approach on the website, consciousapproach.com. That is a full content library. As we like to stress, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment, let us know where we went crazy, let us know where you agree. Just start the dialogue, man. We always want everybody to join in on this community of sport and logical content. If you're watching this video on the meta page, like the page, share the video, also comment on this video as well. Certainly appreciate that. You can follow me on Instagram at JVWins, and you can follow Conscious Approach on Instagram at ConApproach, ConApproach. We will create the RSS audio feed, and we're going to start uploading the broadcast to Spotify and anywhere where you can listen to podcasts. So be on the look for that. That's coming down the pike very soon. And also, we are going to start a TikTok for the channel. It's been a long time in coming. I'm not the biggest fan of TikTok. However, it is a video platform and we do create good videos. Dare I say we create good ass videos. I'll even go so far as to say that. So they deserve to be seen and we deserve to be heard. So be on the lookout for that. It's coming soon, man. All of it to drive everybody back to this, which is the hub right here on the YouTube page. So until next time, I, as always, appreciate everybody for supporting Logical Content.
Yes, man. And the name is Dogon SS. You can find me on YouTube at Dogon SS or on Instagram at Dogon_SS. And like we stated earlier, tis the NBA season, tis NFL, and also college football. So Dogon also be playing on DraftKings. You can find me over there at Dogon_SS. Come over and get slaughtered. All right. And like I always say, every pod, man, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it even, kill, keep it calm, keep it chill, and keep it player. All right. And don't live that fast food lifestyle dealing with these people. All right. Because that what's that is that Big Mac, that fillet of fish, it tastes delicious when you're eating it. All right. That Taco Bell, all right, that double wrap supreme or whatever the hell they got out there. Yeah, it tastes good going in. All right. But you feel like crap the next day. All right. So just make sure, man, you don't live a fast food lifestyle. Try your best to have some substance going on, man, lest you end up like Brittany Renner's. All right. So we really appreciate you guys for watching, man, hitting the like button and subscribing and hitting that bell notification. Like we always say, man, we really appreciate you guys watching some logical content and make sure you guys always support. And until next time, y'all, I'm out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So until next week, until the next video, we'll catch you on the flip side. We'll see you later. Peace.
Peace. Skirt, skirt.